This is Tommy Pipes McDonnell from the original Blues Brothers Band, and you are driving home with the blues with Irene B.
Before we start, I want to show you a photo.
Yes.
Have a look at that. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Crockett.
Yeah, and that's me. 30 years ago.
That's amazing. Where did you take it?
I was, because I used to work in television, and he was out here. And I met him on Good Morning Australia because I was looking after the green room.
Far out.
And
30 years.
I was going to America.
So you were 10?
Soon after. So he picked me up from the Chateau Marmont and took me out to lunch.
Nice.
So I was really hoping to meet up with him again.
Why don't you come in the dressing room and just say hi?
All right, let's do this.
And you were 10 back then? You were 10?
Thank you.
When I started touring with them in '95, it was just myself with Eddie Floyd. So Eddie Floyd wasn't going to play a Blues Brother because Eddie Floyd is Eddie Floyd. So I was kind of doing Jake Elwood, but yeah. And then it morphed into, I left the band for a little while to tour with another band for 13 years, and then they ended up getting two guys because Eddie wasn't touring in Europe anymore. And then I quit the other band and I came back and he said, we'll use all three. Yeah, so I was now with three of us.
Okay.
It's building. Next year before.
Okay, so I am sitting here
Irene B.
Tommy
Go.
McDonnell from the original Blues Brothers Band, and I'm very excited to say that I got to see some of the show on Thursday night, the first night you were here.
Yes.
And I was pretty excited about that because I've got a little bit of a history with Steve Cropper.
I know. Unbelievable. That was a great picture.
Yeah.
30 years ago. Let's take a picture and then 30 years from now we'll look at that picture. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be around.
Yeah, so look, how are you enjoying the vibe of the 2018 Bluesfest?
This festival is unbelievable. We were here 2 years ago, and we kind of blew in we were in Japan, just ending a tour in Japan, and came here, whatever it took us, 11 hours, got to the hotel at about 4 o'clock. I had lunch, I went to my room, I got my outfit, got back in the car, came here, did the show, left the show, went back to the hotel, and got back on a plane for another 20 hours of flying. So I didn't get to experience anything. I saw that tent and the stage, and it was kind of in a blur. But the people, everybody in the festival, unbelievable, well organized. Peter's a wonderful guy, and it was just great. It's just these festivals in these other countries amaze me. I mean, this one is huge, and the celebrities that you get, it's star-studded. But just the coordination and the vibe is just the greatest vibe. Just the people, it's amazing.
And I know with a lot of the artists, they come here and they say, well, it's just so good for us because we get to catch up with so many people. Yeah.
That's the great thing about the festivals is you get to see everybody, all your peers, and you spend most of the time talking to people you haven't seen in years, It's great.
Yeah. And who is it that you have, you've been excited to see again that you haven't seen for a long time this time around?
2 years ago I saw Tom Jones, which was one of my idols from when I was a kid,
Yeah, yeah.
So that was exciting.
Yeah. Look, as I say, I saw a few of the songs, and I want to get to see you again tonight.
Yes.
On Thursday night. The lineup is incredible now. How many are actually in the whole lineup on stage now?
I believe I'm going to say. Wait, I'm going to count in my head quickly. All right. 13.
That's incredible. Yeah.
I think 13.
13.
Maybe 12. I'm not sure.
That's all right. How long have you been performing together? Was that the same band 2 years ago? Or?
Yes, same band.
Right.
Same guys. And I've been with them since 1995.
Right.
Do you know the whole story of what happened with the band? Do you know the story?
Well, I know I know the Blues Brothers.
Yes.
The movie. which is where I think a lot of us first discovered the Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers band toured a little before the movie actually happened. The movie happened in 1980. In 1982, John Belushi died, so the band kind of disbanded. But in '88, a German promoter had the idea to bring the original band over to Germany, and they needed 2 people to sing. So they got Sam Moore from Sam and Dave, and they got Eddie Floyd from Eddie Floyd, and they toured, and it was a huge success. So the band said, we should be touring a lot. So they started touring, and then Sam Moore eventually left, and I took his place, and worked with Eddie Floyd for many years. So that was a thrill. One of my all-time idols. Just to be up there and see his movements and his command of the stage.
And how long have you been performing yourself? I mean, what's your background? When did you start performing?
I started performing when I was 5 years old. My mother used to take me. I could sing a little, and we would go by the bars. I'm from the Bronx, New York. Anybody got a problem with that? Give us a call. All right. But seriously, she used to take me, and she would say, "See that bar? We pass a bar," and she'd say, "If you go in there and you stand on the bar stool," I was a little kid, and she said, "If you sing Danny Boy, people will give you money." That was my first gig.
Wow.
My mother was crazy. My mother was my agent, and I was a drummer back then. So I started playing drums when I was 10. And then she would be my manager. She would get me different gigs, and she'd say, "Okay, we're joining this band because they got better equipment and they have more gigs. But then we're leaving there. There's an audition over here." She had it all worked out. My mother.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was so I was thrown right into it.
So, have you been in some bands that we all know before you joined?
No.
No, okay.
But I did, in 1988, I started doing commercials for radio and TV. I did a lot of big commercials, truck commercials. IT&T was a big company that owned the Sheridans and Canon cameras, beer commercials. I did all kinds of jingles, as they called them, back in the day. So that was kind of my entrance into singing. I started singing at around 1988, and then everybody said, "God, what a voice! You should be a singer." So I said, "This will be great because I won't have to carry the drums anymore."
Exactly.
Not realizing that a singer has to have the PA system, so I had to buy a PA system. Anyway, didn't work out.
Yeah.
I'm destined the rest of my life to carry stuff. So.
As far as blues music goes, have you always been a blues music fan, or were there other genres that you kind of...
I would say I was into Led Zeppelin back in those days.
I saw Led Zeppelin way back a long time ago, yeah.
So to see Robert Plant, oh Lord, it was tremendous. So I was into Zeppelin, I was into all that kind of stuff, and then from being a drummer, I was into instrumental music, and then I got into soul music. I just gravitated towards soul music. Even though I'm from Irish background, my mother's German, French, English, so I'm kind of a mutt. But I just gravitated towards soul music. I just was enthralled with Eddie Floyd and Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding, and then when the Blues Brothers movie came out, I was like, they took that music and researched the whole vibe. So it was amazing what they did.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is like the most interesting period in your life? It's a bit of a hard one.
The most interesting period in my life was when we shot the second movie, Blues Brothers 2000. Dan Aykroyd called me and said, "We're putting you in the movie, but," he says, "we can't put you in as a blues brother because of the timeline so you're going to be in the super band," which it was called the Louisiana Gator Boys, which was the jam session at the end of the movie, and it was all my idols in this band. 50, I don't know how many people were in the band. You had Eric Clapton, Bo Diddley, B.B. King, Jimmy Vaughn, Travis Tritt. These are just the guitar section. The singing, and then Dr. John, Billy Preston, the horn players. It was a cavalcade of all my idols from in the music business, and the singers were Isaac Hayes, Lou Rawls, Coco Taylor, Gary U.S. Bonds, and me. Looked like
Wow.
looked like an Oreo cookie.
Wow.
That was in the middle.
That's so special.
But the funny thing was, and Stevie Winwood was in there. The funny thing was, everyone's looking around. Hey, how are you? And everyone must have been looking at me, go, who the hell is that? Like, nobody knows me. So during lunch, we shot with movies. You shoot for 10 hours. You take a lunch. So during lunch, I went up to Stevie Winwood and I introduced myself. I said, I'm Tommy McDonnell. I'm the singer with the Blues Brothers. I just wanted to tell you I'm a big fan. He says, oh yeah, I know who you are. He said, I had to ask somebody, who the hell is that? I'm like, yeah. Stevie Winwood asked about me.
Well, look, I know that there's going to be somebody else waiting in the wings to do another interview with you soon. So I want to thank you so much for taking time out to let people like us talk to you, because a lot of us have come a long way. I'm from way up north, and we come down here to meet people like you.
That's great,
and
thanks.
to talk to you. So
hey, you guys keep the music alive, so
yeah,
it's our pleasure.
Yeah,
At least my pleasure.
I really thank you. So
thanks, Irene.